Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Big roster updates coming down last night, especially in the story of Demon1. There were rumours over the last couple of days about potentially linking Demon1 to Leviatan, and now he seemingly leaked that live on stream on his Discord, spotted in a conversation with the head coach of LEV. Is that going to be his next step, especially with Aspas, we believe, departing the organisation? What does it mean for NRG as well if Demon1 is going to be fully out of that organisation? Very much interested in your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Loads of new subs over the last few days. Massively appreciate it. Firstly, here from 2Game Esports. They, of course, are going to be in the franchise league in the Americas for next season. I also love the fact we now have 12 teams again. Okay, we didn't really have, you know what I mean. It's gone from 10 to 11, and 11 is just such a horrible number. 12 is much better number. You could have 6 and 6. It's not the perfect number. 16 is probably the perfect number, but I don't think these leagues are ever going to have 16 teams because 16 teams over 4 regions. It's quite a lot of teams, and it's quite a lot to manage, especially with Riot also thinking about tier 2. They sometimes think about tier 2 anyway, but of all the numbers they can have, 12 is the best. 14 is also pretty ugly. 13, of course, also a prime number, so like 11 is. So it doesn't really work so well for tournament formats and stuff, whereas 12, you know, it's not bad, is it? You can do groups from that, you can do brackets from that. It's better than what we've had to deal with over the last year or so, to be honest, and it's better than 10 as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, these are the teams, your partner teams. Whether these teams will change over the coming years, of course, there's been talk about, you know, what if Evil Geniuses continue to not be a great organisation? Could they get swapped out for somebody else? Probably that will happen, to be fair. But yeah, 2Game are in. It's kind of funny because they're obviously Brazilian, but you know, they are using some sort of special VPN. I don't know. I'm sure there's always ways around these potential bans. But yeah, Bro's already in LA, and they say soon. So coming soon, they're going to be out there in the Americas region to start the season, as of course the home grounds are coming up. So Rebel Gaming home grounds this weekend, they play in a qualifier. It's just worthy to note here, I mentioned this a few days ago, that the teams have to confirm something, which they do. These rosters that are playing, Cloud9 are playing in this, Sentinels are playing in this. They have to have a team, right? But the problem is they can't sign players that before October the 7th. So players that have been on VCT teams last season, if they want to sign those players, they need to wait to the 7th of October to do so, because that's when the contract free agency period effectively expires. So Cloud9 have been heavily linked, for example, to Rossi, right, coming over from T1 as he was on last year, and we're pretty sure that's going to be happening. Like, we're 95% sure, I think, that Rossi is going to be joining Cloud9. He seems to have trialed with them, done well with them. I'm pretty sure that is going to happen. At least that was a good, solid rumour a while ago. And he's also implied he's got a new roster lined up as well. But he can't play for them, at least officially, for another couple of weeks. So instead, they have to confirm an alternative. Mitch is now back. So we've got plus Mitch, minus Mitch, plus Mitch. Vic is coming in as well, of course, not on a VCT team last year, so that's fine for them to stand in. But yeah, Zeppa, Moose, Oxy, no Rooney here either is kind of interesting. They apparently have decided not to move forward further with him. So yeah, I don't really like what Cloud9 are building, to be honest, right now. I like it more with Rossi in there, but I don't expect this team to do anything especially spectacular at the qualifiers. But it's the same story for Sentinels as well. They'll have to confirm a team as well in the coming days, and we're pretty sure Curry's going to play with them probably for that. Who their fifth's going to be, who knows, because no Sassy, no Tens. They're going to need somebody else to step into their roster, and they can't, in the same way that Cloud9 can't, it seems, sign anyone yet for at least another couple of weeks, whoever they have their eyes on. I guess Xander is possible because he played not in Tier 1 last year, so something to keep your eyes on, I suppose. And M80, Xander's teammate on that roster, he then says, what region? The Americas, EMEA, I guess, you know, Berlin, of course, right, because that's where it's based, or Seoul in South Korea. Where does he go? Not considering the Chinese region, it seems, but, you know, it makes sense, of course. And who knows, because guys such as Governor and Ban, and of course Rossi last year moving over to the Pacific region, made a lot of sense for those guys, and they did rather well. There is good reason to believe that some of the teams in that region could benefit from a guy like Kawananoob, and that might well be fair enough. So we'll see if anything comes of that, because Aspas, we think, is thinking a similar thing. This was the big rumour yesterday, that Aspas not only wants to leave LEV, but he actually wants to leave the Americas, and he's targeting the Pacific region as something like that. So, you know, we talked about Paper Rex. which would be incredible, and, you know, I'd love to see it, personally, how he would get on over there. But, of course, that would leave LEV in a rather interesting position where they would need to replace the star player and, in some respects, the face of Valorant, and I think that's how it's gone now, right? With TenZ retiring, who now is the face of Valorant? I mean, you know, you've got to say it's probably Aspas. In certain regions, it was already Aspas, probably, but, you know, TenZ, of course, was overall the big man. And to be fair, Kang maybe is now the face of Valorant in many respects. Certainly in the Chinese region, that is true. But around the world, maybe Aspas? I don't know. That's a matter for debate. But if you're LEV, you can't really afford to lose him on some level, but you probably will. And if you're any other team, you would probably be rather intrigued to get Aspas underway. There's also this going on, a reported exchange between Nozwa and Heat for the 2025 season, between Furia and Crew Esports, so they're cooking up something. Crew Esports, of course, probably thought they were getting Sadak, but he's going to Karminkov instead, and there's been some interesting rumours there over the last few days. This is another one just bombarding with rumours lately, but T1, they are looking to replace Excurate on the team, and Sylvan coming in as a new VCT player for them, with Stax now again taking over as the new in-game leader. So, you know, I'm sure Stax can do a good job of that, but again, you know, he always seems to be on the IGL roles for these rosters and maybe not able to show what he can do on his own, you know, 2 feet without having to manage the IGL responsibilities. But that's what T1 are up to, of course, after the Rossi saga has concluded. But as we're going to discuss Demon1, let's talk NRG then, right? So they've got a podcast coming up soon. Som is still there. FNS is still there. Ethan is still there. So presumably that is a trio that is going to stay as part of their roster. We're pretty sure that Verno will be joining them. And then NRG say we have someone special joining. Now, this looks like Crashies to me. I mean, the hair, the face, I don't know. Is that not Crashies? Seems kind of like Crashies to me. At least could be Crashies. But we're pretty sure they're getting rid of Crashies. So what's going on there? I'm not exactly sure. But what I will share from FNS here is the fact that he basically says he's got fed up playing with these guys and he needed a change.
Do you think one factor as to why Val is so inconsistent because of roster changes? I think teams... No, I don't think so. I mean, maybe, but there's also some teams that have stayed together for a very long time, for the most part. For example, Fnatic, PaperX. So I don't think it has anything to do with that. No team stayed together after winning champs, though. Yeah, I know. But I'm just saying there are examples of teams staying together for a long time, and it's not like they are constantly winning or something. I think the game itself is just very difficult to constantly adapt from meta to meta to meta to meta, and like the teams that don't win always have a chip on their shoulder, so they're sometimes like outworking some of the other teams. Would you say that if a team stayed together after winning champs, they could win again? I mean, yeah, it's possible, but there's so much that's already shown, and also being on a core that, like, for example, I was with Vic and Austin for a really long time, right? What ends up happening a lot of the times is you have this feeling that you want to play with new people. That doesn't mean some of the older people that you played with or the people you're currently playing with are bad or anything. It's just, it's nice to have that change because there are so few events as well. So playing with the same people year round, year after year after year, can get, like, you can almost start to feel some sort of, I don't know, it just gets old. I don't know.
NRG making a coaching change as well, of course, bringing Bonkar in, so potentially that also could be happening in their podcast. But Kaplan is locked in, so Sentinels, they've announced a few things recently. TenZ gone, Sassy gone, Zekken's staying, Kaplan will stay as well. This time he's not sat down in the chair to do it, but you know, he's just standing up here, and there's a picture they took a while ago, obviously, locked in as their coach for the upcoming season. Zels is, of course, happy to keep that one going, and actually, as Rob Moore mentions here, when we gave you their helm last April, a lot of people in the community thought I was nuts. You've put in the work and brought back a winning culture. Looking forward to showing how the new roster comes together for the qualifier in the Red Bull home grounds for this Sunday and beyonds. Keep up the great work. So interesting stuff, the new roster for the qualifier and beyonds kind of implies that maybe whatever roster they do form for this qualifier will be rather similar to what they end up forming for the rest of the season, if not the same. But that is an interesting question. But speaking of that NRG team, how about this from Demon1? So now this is classic Valorant Pro, Esports Pro type stuff, and you might think, well, how is it even possible to leak your Discord on stream? Surely you don't do it, but it happens, you know, it happens, it is what it is. This is Demon1 on stream, talking with Square Bracket about, this is pretty funny, isn't it? He's asking, is his microphone an input or an output? It's like, you know, brother, thank God you can shoot heads, you know what I mean? But the key thing, of course, is to look in the direct messages on the left-hand side and see who he's been chatting to. You can actually see the NRG Discord up here, but you can also see Jorgamo, of course, a player who was linked to Leviatan, but is now, we're pretty sure, joining G2. Of course, former Evil Geniuses player as well. Com, other former Evil Geniuses player, won the World Championship with Demon1 back in 2023. He's now on Leviatan and will likely stay there for the upcoming season. And the other group that he's in is with Derek Trong, who we see every so often in these accidental player leak screenshots because he is the agent for a numerous number of pro players in the Valorant world, and this guy Ito Pata, and if we actually find out who that guy is, that of course is the head coach for Leviatan. So assuming that this isn't just a fake Derek, and this isn't just, you know, someone faking being the head coach of Leviatan, it's rather likely that conversations have at least been had between these respective parties. So what do we think about this? It doesn't lock anything in, absolutely guaranteed, that obviously he is going to be joining this organization, but it does mean that things are probably, not I wouldn't say advanced, but the conversations are relatively deep, right, in this happening, which obviously says a couple of things. Not only does it say Aspas potentially gone if Demon1's coming in, unless they have both and Demon1 plays another role, but seems kind of unlikely, but also it says NRG likely moving on from Demon1, right, because otherwise would he be in this extensive conversations with the Leviatan guys if he was likely going to stay on NRG? Probably not. Maybe he's just exploring options, but you know, you would think that if he was staying on NRG, there might be a couple of NRG guys within his most recent few messages rather than just all, you know, some level of Leviatan players. So definitely intrigued to your thoughts on that in the comment section below. A couple of other things as well here. So Marder trialing for LEV as well, because it seems they do need to field or at least fill quite a few roles at the moment. So they're trialing all sorts of stuff, and it seems like LEV are potentially just going to become a North American team on some respects. But you guys can see what's going on here. Potentially this is from Dashi's stream, I thought, last night as well. But yeah, so EU is still around. The question was, where's Bang, right? Because Zix is here. Boostio, Asna, Cryo, and EU, but you know, no Bang. So there was a question on where's Bang gonna go, just because there were rumors that he was trialing with Sentinels, wasn't he? But we just don't know what's happening, and you know, there are obviously some theories about what might be going on right now, but genuinely, who has any idea? But very much interested to your thoughts, as always, and all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.